Many years ago, when I was in church, I used to hear people talking about getting guidance from God, but it was always very mysterious. They never explained how this happened, how they heard the voice of God, how they knew it was God, how they knew that it was His guidance. And I was left wondering whether they were being truthful and also whether there was something wrong with me. Why wasn't I hearing the voice of God or getting guidance or knowing what to do? And it was only when I started mindfulness that I began to get an understanding of this. So mindfulness to me was a process of clearing the mind, of making the mind completely blank, and then noticing any thoughts that do come to mind, what passes through, and sort of paying attention to that, but then letting it go as well. That's probably very simple. I'm no mindfulness expert. I did do a very short course in mindfulness, and that was what I found, that when the mind is quiet, it's the thoughts then that come up. For me, it can be anxious thoughts or it can be important thoughts, or hopefully it can be guidance or insights or intuition. And that's what we want to cultivate. I think the environment is important when trying to connect with God. I love to come to places like this, which are very natural. It helps me feel at peace. It helps me feel at one with nature. In terms of clearing the mind, it's very easy for me to clear the mind when I'm in a natural environment like this. There's no distractions. It feels like home. It feels natural. It's relaxing. It just feels good. It feels right. And that enables me to completely relax, to pay attention to my thoughts, pay attention to my intuition and any insights that I get. I'm sitting down at the moment, but often I will walk as well. I find that quite helpful. I think there's something rhythmic about walking, which somehow distracts us from our thoughts and enables intuition to come to us. It takes our mind off maybe what we're thinking. It also burns energy, which seems to help the process as well. Also, being in spiritual buildings can be really helpful. There's a stillness to churches, for example, or cathedrals, and that outer environment enables us to match inwardly with what's on the outside. So this is all about so without, so within, so above, so below. It's about matching what's on the outside with what's on the inside, or matching what's on the inside with what's on the outside, whichever way you want to look at it. Some people find it helpful to light a candle or maybe burn incense, but really this is all about finding a personal way that enables you to feel at peace and enables you to cultivate an environment where you feel connected, where you feel the possibility of connecting to the divine. So the most important thing is to make this personal. Do what feels right to you. Don't go and sit in a church on a Sunday morning with the congregation expecting to get guidance if that's never worked for you before. This is something that you need to put effort into, make time for, and cultivate a relationship with. So maybe the very first time you try it, you might not really feel like you've got a result. But as with everything, the more you practice, the more you invest, the more you put your energy into it, and the more you pay attention to anything that's coming through to you, the more that it is going to develop and become second nature. Also, what can happen if you're working with intuition, whether you know it or not, you might get thoughts, you might get insights, but it's quite easy to dismiss them if you're not used to paying attention. Say if you get a thought or an image, you could easily dismiss that before it's even really registered. By quieting the mind and taking time and creating space to do this, you can also learn to pay attention to what comes to mind, whether it's an image, a thought, even an emotion. It could be something that you see that seems meaningful, an object that just seems to call your attention to it. Whatever it is, when you've created time and space for that, it's much easier to pay attention and to find a meaning in it. The first thing is to obviously notice what comes to mind. It could be just a thought, it could be something that you need to do that you don't want to forget, or it could be an insight, or it could be a form of guidance. It's important to be able to discern between different things that come to mind, whether it's just a thought about something that you need to do, or whether there's a deeper meaning in that. And discernment in itself needs practice. It's something that needs to be developed. So deciding or knowing the difference between what is an insight and what is just a everyday thought. It's difficult to explain really, but it's just something that takes practice and will come the more that you dedicate your time to it. So if you can set some time aside for this daily or weekly, however much time you feel that you can dedicate to it, just set yourself a goal in terms of what is manageable. Again, this is a process of devotion. So when we devote our time, when we devote our energy, when we devote our very self to this process, that is going to enable us to start to develop a relationship with the divine and to start to get insights and get intuition and to really develop that connection connection. Some people find meditation or prayer helpful. Again, meditation is a little bit of a mystery to me. It's something that a lot of people do, and some people dedicate a lot of time to it. But I've never really understood what the purpose behind that is. Is it a way of escape, or do people experience a connection with God? And of course, everybody's different. That's probably why I didn't really connect with the idea of meditation, because quite honestly, it sounded a bit dull, like just to sit and do nothing. Obviously, there needs to be an intention behind that. What is the intention of sitting in stillness? What is the intention of clearing the mind? So what I'm talking about here is doing a meditation, I suppose it could be, or you could even call it a prayer, with the intention of getting guidance from God, of connecting with the divine. So for somebody else who does meditation, the intention might be quite different. It might be to heal their anxiety, or it might be just to have some time with no thoughts. But I'm talking here specifically about working with the intention of getting guidance from the divine, of getting a connection. Prayer can be a difficult one as well, because we're often taught how to pray. Maybe it starts at school or at home or in church. There seems to be a set way of praying. And I know from experiences in childhood that it was usually the man at the front of the church who would pray. And quite often he'd put on a special voice and it would all be very formal, seem very sacred. And maybe that was difficult for me to connect with, because I probably lean more towards having quite an intimate relationship with the divine, but not one that is formal. It doesn't feel hierarchical as such. I don't want it to feel like I need to go to wear special clothes, or to be in a special place, or to behave in a certain way, or use special words in order to connect. I want it to be something that is there all the time, that is accessible, which I am always open to at all times. So connecting with the divine is very possible. What's important is to do what works for you. Find out what is your personal way of connecting, what feels right. Don't go with what you've been taught or what you've been told is right. It's something you need to develop yourself. And by all means, start with what you've been taught, but then be prepared and be open to finding other ways which work for you on a personal level. Thanks for listening. Please remember to like and subscribe.